There are so many great Indian dishes out there, but butter chicken is my favorite because it's the only one I can confidently pronounce correctly. Today we're gonna follow along the most viewed butter chicken recipe in YouTube history, and it's from an Indian channel, so it's gotta be authentic.
First, let's begin with the chicken. I have some chunks of chicken here.
I know it's been a while, I've been making too many desserts lately, but we're back at it again with our radioactive chicken. They used to look green, now they're purple. I say it's a good development to the right direction. As you can see here, they're all bone-in drumsticks, so we have to take the meat off the bone first. I'm using my boning knife, but you can use any knife you have. We're gonna cut around the ankle first to separate the top and the bottom. Once the drum meat is separated, we'll make one deep cut along the seam over here. So this cut's gonna open up the meat and help us cut along the bone as closely as we can. Make sure you release the meat from the back as well. It should be pretty easy. Sometimes you can just pull it down. Once you get to this lollipop shape, just cut against the bone while rotating it to minimize the waste. You guys might think that chicken's my biggest enemy, but my first job is actually butchering chicken for a cafeteria. So my left hand has years of practice at handling bones. So we'll do this repeatedly for a long time till all the chickens are boneless. And like any good meat, we have to pull the skin back to enjoy it. Also, a lot of other butter chicken recipes I saw on the internet require skinless chicken.
I'm adding in a little bit of garlic paste.
As you remember, we made garlic confit yesterday, so I'm just gonna crush some up.
Red chili powder and salt.
I mean, he didn't specify what type of chili powder, so I'm just gonna use a tablespoon of gochugaru.
Give it a nice mix.
Giving it a nice mix. I also mix in about 2 teaspoons of salt, wrap it up and let it marinate for at least 15 minutes.
Now let's start pan frying these.
Now let's start pan frying this.
So I'm taking some oil.
I'm taking some oil.
Now that the oil is medium hot, let's start frying these chicken pieces.
When the oil is medium hot, we'll start frying these chicken pieces.
Now that the chicken is almost done and ready, let's transfer this into another bowl.
This chicken didn't get that much color on it, so I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. So we'll just sear both sides quickly and transfer it out.
It is absolutely made in the same pot. It's one of those which can actually be made in the same pot. You remember the word one pot recipe? This is one of those.
Just in case you guys didn't get that, this recipe can be made in one pot, singular, one. Like the Christian God, you can say it in 3 forms, but it means the one thing.
Now the same pan in which we had cooked our chicken goes in the chopped onion.
The pan looks a little dirty, so I'm gonna go wash it off real quick. I was just kidding. Some of you cooking experts must almost had a heart attack. And once it's in, we'll start scraping, because the moisture from the onion will help us release the fond.
And since it's butter chicken, we're going to add in a spoonful of butter.
1 spoonful of butter seems a little underwhelming to name a dish after it. Once the butter's in, we'll just keep stir frying the onions till it's soft and golden.
Next goes in roughly cut tomatoes.
Next goes in the returning star of the channel, canned tomatoes.
And along with this, we're going to add in some cashew nuts.
My household's a little low on nuts. I only have donuts, coconut, and walnut, so I'm gonna go with walnuts.
Now goes in the garlic paste,
Couple more cloves of garlic confit,
some salt,
some salt,
malt vinegar,
2 tablespoons of distilled vinegar. It's such a versatile ingredient. You can use it to clean your toilet, make mayonnaise, or just add some acidity to your stew.
some sugar,
4 tablespoons of sugar may seem like a lot, but that's what the recipe says.
garam masala powder,
Half a teaspoon of garam masala.
and some red chili powder.
To ensure that the existence of my anus doesn't get alarmingly intense later, I'm just gonna use a little bit of paprika.
I'm going to evenly mix this.
And evenly mix it.
We're going to let this mixture simmer for at least 15 to 20 minutes till the time the entire thing becomes nice and mushy.
We'll add a little bit of water because it's getting a little too thick and let it simmer for at least 20 minutes. At the moment, it kind of looks like a really horribly made tomato soup with nuts in it.
Transfer this into another container. Now this container is where I'm going to use a hand blender and churn it into a fine puree.
This is what it looks like after 20 minutes. I don't have a hand blender, so I'm gonna use my tiny smoothie blender. Like many things, it's not the size that matters, it's the power.
So So while sieving this mixture, we have to make sure we press as much as we can so that there is absolute minimal wastage.
We're gonna have to sieve this mixture as we blend, and as a master of the craft, I'm gonna show you how to multitask.
And what we have here is nothing but the seeds and the skin of the tomatoes.
This is taking a really long time, and I can't even beat it on the couch. So I'm gonna put it on a time lapse, just in case you guys question the legitimacy of this process. We're finally done. That took me about 20 minutes just to blend things up. I'm thinking about getting a bigger mixer. Should I start buying kitchen equipment, or do you guys still enjoy watching me struggle? Let me know in the comments.
First goes in the butter.
So we put it back in the pan and heated it up, and now it's time to add about 5 tablespoons of butter.
Next goes in some cream.
And 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. It's starting to feel like the real thing.
Next goes in the chicken.
And finally we'll add back in the chicken. I'm gonna keep stirring it constantly to make sure the butter emulsifies well.
Now finally goes in the crushed methi.
So after simmering for 7 minutes, our butter chicken's done.
Now let's start plating.
Before we plate, I just think it feels kinda wrong to have butter chicken without garlic naan, so we're gonna make some of that too. I found a great tutorial video in Hindi, but no need to worry, you already know how great I am with foreign languages. I will translate every sentence for you.
और स्पेशली गार्लिक प्लस बटर का एडिशन नान को बना देता है और भी ज़्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग.
So we're making garlic plus butter on naan, and it's gonna be very interesting.
सिंपल जैसे हम घर में आटा लगाते हैं वैसे ही हम लगाएंगे आटा, लेकिन थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट करेंगे इस आटे को.
We're making half of our recipe, so 1 cup of all-purpose flour,
और अब इसमें नमक डाल देते हैं.
1 teaspoon of salt,
चपाती बनाते हुए डालते हैं. साथ में इसमें जा रहा है 1 चम्मच,
and a teaspoon of sugar.
आधा कप दही.
So curd means yogurt, and I only have Trader Joe's non-fat yogurt, and I'm gonna use a 1/4 cup of it.
2 टेबलस्पून ऑयल.
Did I just hear English? Also, we're using the garlic oil from the garlic confit video.
साथ साथ इसमें जा रहा है ये हाफ टी स्पून बेकिंग पाउडर.
Okay, I definitely just heard English.
और 1/4 टीस्पून इसमें जा रहा है बेकिंग सोडा.
So 1/8 of baking soda. This is like a K-pop song. You never know the English is gonna pop up.
उसके अलावा अब गार्लिक नान बना रहे हैं तो ऑब्वियसली हम इस्तेमाल करेंगे लहसुन का. तो मैंने 4 से 5 या लहसुन की कलियां लिए. बस इस तरीके का ग्रेटर ले लें.
So we're just gonna chop up a few cloves of garlic. And also, this lady's hands are made of steel. She rubs her hand aggressively against the microplane.
लहसुन का तो मैंने 4 से ग्रेटर ले लें आप. लगता है जब आटे में हम उसे गूंद लेते हैं.
Well, the instruction says half, but we're just gonna put everything in it.
तो बस अब हमें कुछ नहीं करना है, बस हल्का गुनगुना पानी लेना है आपको और उससे ये आटा लगाएंगे आप, तो बिल्कुल सॉफ्ट आपका आटा लगकर हो जाएगा तैयार.
So this is what the mixture currently looks like, and we're gonna add lukewarm water to it as we need till it forms a smooth dough. Alright, I think this is smooth enough. Kinda looks like a fossilized dinosaur turd. I'm gonna go wash my hands.
कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है, बहुत ही इजी है. बस ढक के 15 मिनट तक इसको रख देते हैं इस तरीके से साइड में.
So we'll cover it up and set it aside for 15 minutes.
तो एक पोर्शन मैंने ले लिया है, इसको हल्का सा ड्राई फ्लावर में लपेट के और इसको अब हम बेल रहे हैं.
After 15 minutes, we'll take out a little ball and stretch it into a circle.
नहीं तो नहीं बेले तो आप राउंड भी बेल सकते हैं, नान ही है.
I'm gonna skip on the garlic and the herbs and only do sesame. You'll see why in a second.
फिर से एक बार बेलन चला देते हैं ताकि सब चीजें चिपक जाएं इस पे.
We'll press the sesame seeds into the dough with my rolling pin and make it nice and flat.
तो बस पानी जो है इसमें एक तरीके से गोंद का काम एक्ट करता है, जैसे कि ग्लू.
We'll flip it over and wet the other side with some water with our hands. And I heard she said it's gonna turn into a glue.
उसी कॉन्सेप्ट को हम तवे पे कन्वर्ट कर रहे हैं.
And then we'll put the wet side on a dry, hot pan.
Nice job, team.
आयरन स्केलेट का इस्तेमाल कर रही हूँ और जैसे ही आप देख सकते हैं इस पे बबल्स आ गए हैं.
So we'll let it cook on medium heat and wait for the bubbles to appear.
उलट दे तवे के साथ ही. तो तवे के साथ उलटने में क्या हो रहा है.
So now we'll flip the pan over to cook the naan on open fire, just like a traditional tandoor. If open fire is what we're looking for, problem can be easily solved.
तो गर्मा गर्म नान तैयार है, इसके ऊपर इसी टाइम पे मैं लगा रही हूँ मक्खन.
So this is why I didn't put garlic and herb earlier. I'm gonna brush on this garlic confit butter with parsley. I'll show you how to make it tomorrow. Here I have both elements ready. As you can tell, it's already nighttime, so let's get to plating.
Now finally goes in some fresh cream and some kasuri methi.
So we'll ladle the chicken and the gravy in. I don't know what that leaf is, so I'm gonna use some parsley. Finally, we'll add on a spoonful of cream to give it that little swirly look. Okay, is it just me or is this looking really ugly? I feel like the cream shouldn't be pooling at the edge of the bowl like that. I'm gonna take some more gravy to try to cover it up. Hopefully it looks better that way. Okay, of course somehow I made it look worse. It was fine before. I'm just gonna destroy the design because I feel like the cream is holding us back. It's funny because usually I have to hold the cream back. So we'll re-garnish the bowl with parsley. This way it looks much better than before. Holding this in my hand, I'm realizing that this is actually just a bowl of heavily spiced tomato soup with a side of bread. The overall appearance of these two dishes indicates success, but I have to post it on Instagram to find out.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like Stockton.
Seems like a lot of you are having trouble with the naan, so we're gonna start with tasting the butter chicken. This is definitely one of the more time-consuming dishes on this channel, so let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. Before we get to the music scene, I'm gonna give the naan a sound check with my teeth. I was gonna use one of my favorite Indian songs, but I'm afraid that T-Series is gonna get all up on my ass with those copyright strikes, so I had to go with the good old Justin clip. Also, this chicken is explosively juicy and tender. I'm starting to think that it's raw, so I'm just cutting open the thickest piece to double check, and it looks like we're in the safe zone. It's sad that the naan didn't puff up, but at least it's crispy and very flavorful too. And the butter chicken is creamy, rich, and spicy. Personally, I think this is the best butter chicken I've ever had. But again, I don't have Indian food as often as I should. My Indian friend's mom told me that Indian food's supposed to be had with your hands because the utensil messes with the taste of the food, and I fully believe that. So I learned that you can use the bread as a utensil to deliver meat and gravy into your mouth. I also developed my own technique of eating curry with my hand. Check this out.
Just use finger.
Pretty authentic, right? Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyways, today I'll give the butter chicken an 8.8 out of 10 and the naan a 7 out of 10. I'm extremely intrigued by the methods and ingredients of Indian cuisine, so you'll be seeing that a lot more on this channel now. Alright, thank you.